Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Allahumma ajarni minan nar. Assalamu alaikum. Ji ayanu. Pakhair agale. Ni hao. Tunashumme. Washmale. Ohai Gonzaimes. Guten Morgen. Hola. Bonjour. Privyet. Kaifa hal? Hale shuma chatore. Ahlan wa sahlan. Marhaba. Buna. Mucho. Gracias. Suavia. Bali karaya. And thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning into PTV World. You watching World this morning alongside my very amazing, very interesting, a very superb co-host, Ms. Shiza Hashmi, and I happen to be Shahzad Hassan Khan. Shiza, how are you doing today?
Assalamu alaikum,
Wa
Shazad. I'm
alaikum
doing
assalam.
absolutely great. Thank you so much for asking and being considerate every other day as well. How about you?
Well, I feel great. I feel wonderful. It's just that I believe that I pulled a muscle or two as well, and it's just because of the fact that I made sure during this Ramadan that other than just sitting with friends and gossiping, I would rather invest my time in being more fit and making sure that I actually have an activity to look forward to every single day, which I believe is great since the times are very distressful as well, and so making sure that that from my end there's no blockage of any sort as well, and making sure that I'm moving, making sure that I'm progressing every single day. I believe that everything now when I look back at all of these things which I've done during Ramadan, I believe I feel great, I
That's
feel happy,
nice.
and I feel accomplished as well, alhamdulillah.
That is
What about
absolutely
you?
that is absolutely great to hear, Shazad, because how often does it happen that a person is actually satisfied with what they're doing
Yeah,
or actually do accomplish what they set out to do as well? So
exactly.
well, congratulations on
Thank you
that,
very much.
on
What about you?
achieving
I want to ask you the same as well.
what I did in
I
this
mean,
Ramadan.
did you pick up on something very interesting, during this month of Ramadan, and made sure that, rather than, sitting down with family and friends and having conversations or probably gossips or things like that, did you pick up on one habit which you think that, you did the right thing?
Well, other than, of course, the things that do come with Ramadan, including, of course, namaz, roza, regular ones that,
Yeah.
and then trying out new foods. Well, I did do that. But I don't think I did pick up on something new. I mean, in your terms, you're talking about working out and
Yeah,
strengthening that as well.
exactly.
I did not because I think I'm being quite I'm enjoying my lazy days over here.
No, there's a reason why I actually asked you
Okay,
because
okay.
I believe that it was 2 weeks ago or probably 1 week ago that you told me that you started to work out as well.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
but it's not that regular. So it's just, well, I did start. I am definitely inspired by a lot of people around me,
Mashallah.
but I don't think I have that kind of, well, capacity or ability to do it hardcore. Well, I think I might do it
Yeah,
later on,
that's wonderful
maybe.
because believe me, Shiza, everybody's got the capacity and the
I'm
tendency and
sure.
the ability to do it as well. It's just that you have to make sure that you're focused. And with working out and activities such as sports, ladies and gentlemen, it brings discipline in your life as well.
Definitely.
Because when you play as a team, you become a team member as well, and then you know that okay, that this might be required by this particular team member, this might be required by this, and everybody's expecting something of everybody as well. So I believe
Yes.
that everybody who's going to pick up on something like this, I believe that they're going to be very progressive in their life as well and in their nature. What about you?
That is, I feel, absolutely true. Yes, and healthy as well to have similar habits. I have an interesting fact to share with you,
Sure,
though.
go ahead.
So remember, I don't know if you remember, but when we were little, and when Ramadan used to come in hot summer, my parents would used to tell us stories about, how when we were little there was Ramadan in January, and we enjoyed in snow and whatnot because, well, they were not living in Pakistan. But do you know, in 2030, inshallah, in 1 year we will have two Ramadan.
Really?
That is, yes, in the beginning of January and in the end of December, because the Islamic lunar calendar is sort of pushed 10-ish days
Yeah,
back
yeah,
every year, right?
yeah, yeah,
So by 2030, we will have two Ramadans to
yeah.
enjoy in 1 year. Absolutely blissful,
So
isn't
yeah,
it?
so for all of those people who are thinking that how can we have like 2 months in 1 year? Well, that's not what the case is. Probably we are going to experience the start of Ramadan in the same year
Yes,
as well. So I
yes,
believe that it's going to be wonderful.
it
And
is.
I mean, for everybody who's out there, I believe that we'll be able to bag as many blessings as we can
Inshallah.
as well. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, these are the last 10 days of Ramadan, the last Ashra of Ramadan as well, where we definitely seek for forgiveness and we
Yes,
seek as if Allah will actually pardon us from hellfire as well. And everybody's
inshallah.
waking up at night and making sure that they do enough ibadah that they're blessed in the bargah of Allah Almighty. And just a few days ago, I was reading this as well. It was quoted by Hazrat Aisha. Somebody else quoted, and they said that when Hazrat Aisha narrated, Amma Aisha narrated that when the last 10 days or the last Ashra of Ramadan would come, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam would actually tighten his belt in order to stay up late at night and make sure that he does more ibadah every single night as well. So for everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, may Allah bless you for all the ibadah you're putting in as well, and please make sure that you remember us all in your prayers. Now, there's one more thing which I wanted to talk about.
Okay, what is that?
And this is something which I've always worked on, Shiza. You know, for the last 10 or 15 years, I've always had this sense to myself that, you know, that Allah wants me to do something greater in life. And thinking about all of this, I came down to a point where I was like, okay, you know, to achieve what I want to achieve, it is very important or imperative for me to be selfless.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
now when we talk about selflessness, obviously, you know, the points which I have catered to so far, Alhamdulillah, I would love to put them on the table
Yes, let us
for
know.
all of you who are
We
out
can
there.
learn.
Yeah, so number one is that, you know, even if somebody's given me a bigger chunk of money, you know, so I would never use it. Even if I'll be in dire need, I would never use it without their permission, number one. Number two was that, you know, to be selfless, I believe that you really do not have to expect from anyone, even if you have done a favor to them.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's very
absolutely,
important.
absolutely.
Number three, that, you know, if there are things which you want for yourself, make sure that you want all of those things for other people as well. You know, the standards shouldn't be different. Number four, for all of those people who work at your places, you know, the domestic help you have, make sure that you treat them equally. Number five, that all of these brands and cars and houses and watches and clothes are not going to be my introduction. Rather, my introduction would be who I really am, or probably my name. I do not want things to be affiliated with it as well. And moving on, you know, there are so many days and so many, you come across so many situations where, you know, it's inevitable to kind of avoid this situation. And then you're like, okay, yeah, you know what, I really need to kind of tread upon the path I've chosen for myself. Allah has actually chosen for me. And but yeah, that is the day where the true exam really comes in as well, and then you really have to control and be by yourself. And may Allah Almighty forgive us all as well. You wanted to add something?
Well, yes. First of all, again, congratulations on realizing all those things. I feel like people do have the ability to carry out the best of the virtues that are instilled upon mankind, but to realize that you have reached there is something important. Now, all the attributes that you feel like you mentioned are associated with selflessness. Well, they're not just actually relevant to the cases you mentioned. For example, you said you're not going to use someone else's money no matter how much you need it. It's not just related to that. Now, just adapting this behavior, you have instilled the value of amanat and taking care of someone's amanat in yourself, right? And that is not just related to money. Now, I think you can have the trust or confidence of any of your friends to actually put their things with you, with knowing that Shahzad Khan is not going to, well, intrude in it.
Exactly.
And I think one small steps actually leads you up the ladder as well, and it's absolutely beautiful. But I want the entire society to adopt these things, Shahzad.
Exactly, and which is why, you know, ladies and gentlemen, we are even sharing these as well. You know, and other than that, you know, there are a few other hobbies which, well, not really hobbies, things which I make sure that I do not do. And that is, for example, you know, in any official environment, wherever you might probably go, wherever your workplace is, or even in your homes, you know, you do tend to get together and, you know, say bad stuff about different people. You know, probably relatives, God forbid, or probably, you know, your other employees who work with you. So I've always made sure, Shiza, and alhamdulillah, you've always made sure that we really do not ever speak about anybody else, ladies and gentlemen. And even if we get to know that, you know, oh, you know what, somebody said something about you. So until the time that you actually see that evil or hear that evil from your own eye, you know, we truly do not kind of agree to that, and we do not buy that as well, even if somebody comes up to us and tells us. So please keep it with yourself. And one last thing, and that is that I've seen within my own community, I've heard it with my own ears as well, that people say कि मैं तो जो बात करता हूँ मुंह पे करता हूँ. I mean, what's the point of saying something which is going to be hurtful or resentful for somebody else? You know, kind of keep it to yourself. It does not really matter if you're going to hurt somebody with your words. Ladies and gentlemen, what is the kind of impact you're going to have? Obviously, people are going to feel bad about you. So, if there's something which you think is right, obviously, we agree to that. But if it's going to be very hurtful for somebody else, please make sure that you don't utter those words as well.
Definitely, I agree with you, Shazad. To be hurtful is, I think, one of the worst things to happen to mankind. But all the things that we're talking about, we really hope and pray and fingers crossed, we wish that our society entirely adopts onto these values as well. Imagine, Shazad, how beautiful, beautiful of a social system we will have if everyone has the similar values that, first of all, our religion teaches us, and then every proper civilization has followed these values.
Yeah.
What are those? Maybe we can take a look at them.
Exactly. So, ladies and gentlemen, we actually have a surprise from you. So, we have what we have done is that we have taken out messages from Quran, you know, which are actually to make the communities and the societies we live in a better place as well. So, we have a complete report on that. Please go ahead, take a look, and when you guys will come back, we'll actually have a wonderful Naat Khwan who's actually going to recite a Naat for all of us as well. So, please go. Let's take a look at this wonderful messages from Quran, which can make our society and community a better place. Let's go.
Let's learn.
Islam as a comprehensive way of life encompasses a complete moral system that is an important aspect of its worldview. We live in an age where good and evil are often looked at as relative concepts. Islam, however, holds that moral positions are not relative and instead defines a universal standard by which actions may be deemed moral or immoral. Islam's moral system is striking in that it not only defines morality but also guides the human race in how to achieve it at both an individual as well as a collective level. The guiding principle for the behavior of a Muslim is what the Quran refers to as virtuous deeds. This term covers all deeds, not just the outward acts of worship. Some of the most primary character traits expected of a Muslim are piety, humility, and a profound sense of accountability to God. A Muslim is expected to be humble before God and with other people. Islam also enjoins upon every Muslim to exercise control of their passion and desires. Islam warns against vanity and excessive attachment to the ephemeral pleasures of this world, while it's easy to allow the material world to fill our hearts. Islam calls upon human beings to keep God in their hearts and to use the material world in moderation and in accordance with God's guidance. The glorious Quran says, "The day whereon neither wealth nor sons will avail, but only he will prosper that brings to Allah a sound heart." Gratitude in prosperity, patience in adversity, and the courage to uphold the truth, even when inconvenient to oneself, are just some of the qualities that every Muslim is encouraged to cultivate.
Subhanallah, this is so beautiful, Shazad, and I think just to start our morning with something like this does set a direction for our entire day as well. And like we always say, we have been learning about this very thing as well throughout our shows, throughout our lives actually, that Quran itself is a complete book. You talk about social studies, you talk about science, you talk about physics, any single thing, Quran entails all of that, along with telling you the path of life. It's just so beautiful.
Exactly.
Well, we just have a few days left to Ramadan, ladies and gentlemen. We want to make the most of it. And carrying on the tradition of starting our segments with a beautiful, beautiful Naat, we have been luckily joined by an amazing Naat Khwan again today, who happens to be...
And he is Mr. Ahsan Ali. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. How are you? Thank you very much for joining us. क्या सुनाएंगे आज आप?
मैं उर्दू का कलाम है इमाम हसन रज़ा खान बरेलवी उनका लिखा हुआ कलाम इंशाल्लाह।
बिस्मिल्लाह कीजिए।
निगाहे लुत्फ के उम्मीदवार हम भी हैं, लिए हुए तो दिले बेकरार हम भी हैं, तुम्हारी एक निगाहे करम में सब कुछ है, तुम्हारी एक निगाह سب کچھ ہے، پڑے ہوئے تو سر راہ گزار ہم بھی ہیں، پڑے ہوئے تو سر راہ گزار ہم بھی ہیں، جو سر پہ رکھنے کو مل جائیں، نالے پاک حضور، جو سر پہ رکھنے کو مل جائیں، نالے پاک حضور، تو پھر کہیں گے کہ ہاں تاجدار ہم بھی ہیں، تو پھر کہیں گے کہ ہاں تاجدار ہم بھی ہیں، بہہ کے چادر زہرا ادھر بھی ایک نظر، بہہ کے چادر زہرا ادھر بھی ایک نظر، غبار راہ میں ایشا سوار ہم بھی ہیں، غبار راہ میں ایشا سوار ہم بھی ہیں، حسن ہے جن کی سخاوت کی دھوم عالم میں، حسن ہے جن کی سخاوت کی دھوم عالم میں، انہی کے تم بھی ہو ایک ریزہ خار ہم بھی ہیں، انہی کے تم بھی ہو ایک ریزہ reza khar hum bhi hain liye huए तो दिले बेकरार हम भी हैं.
Jazakallah, Ahsan bhai. Beautiful, mesmerizing, and I believe that this is the right way to start our day, or probably kickstart our mornings as well. Thank you very much for joining us. Wonderful to have you on our show as well. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we want to head out towards a short break, but we will continue for what we started with as well, where we were talking about how to make this, our communities, our societies, a better place.
Absolutely. And Shahzad, just to add a small thing to that, you know, there are institutions, of course, or pillars within a state that do operate just for the mere purpose of improving the societies. Unfortunately, the history is huge with examples of how people belonging to those organizations or institutions were somehow corrupted and the entire societies or states went down.
True.
Luckily, Shahzad, because we live in the Twin Cities, we have a bunch of people who are so sincere to the jobs that they have in terms of improving the society, of course, and all the other jobs that they are bestowed with, that within our lifetimes, I think we are seeing the society improve. And which is a good thing because to set the example, to set the bar so high, and then to actually pull it off as well, is something brilliant we need to commend.
Exactly. And ladies and gentlemen, credit is due where it's due. And, you know, we are the sort of people where we will give credit. And I believe that, you know, it truly depends on the kind of leadership of the country as well in the direction where you're heading. So I
100%.
believe that we really need to kind of applause or commend about the kind of direction they have kept as well, you know, speaking about our institutions and how transparency is made sure. That is one of the vital characteristic of any institution, ladies and gentlemen. It is really our responsibility to make sure that you bring you those stories as well, and they know there are these pillars who are actually day in, day out.
Yes.
You know, it does not really matter to them 365 days throughout the year, ladies and gentlemen, they're on duty and they're making sure that they're going to eradicate every menace within our own society. How do they do that, and how they're moving forward, and how all of a sudden, you know, we see this transformation within our own institutions and they're becoming so transparent? Is it the leadership or is it them themselves? Ladies and gentlemen, we're heading out towards a short break.
We'll be right back. Stay tuned to find out that not all heroes wear red capes.
Yes,
Good morning.
Mosque, or the Royal Mosque in Lahore, commissioned by the sixth Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb in 1671 and completed in 1673, is the second largest mosque in Pakistan and South Asia and the fifth largest mosque in the world. Epitomizing the beauty, passion and grandeur of the Mughal era. It is Lahore's most famous landmark and a major tourist attraction. Capable of accommodating 5,000 worshippers in its main prayer hall and a further 95,000 in its courtyard, it remains the largest mosque in the world. From 1673 to 1986, a period of 313 years, when overtaken in size by the completion of the Faisal Mosque in Islamabad. Today, it remains the second largest mosque in Pakistan and South Asia and the fifth largest mosque in the world after Masjid al-Haram, Grand Mosque of Mecca and Al-Masjid al-Nabwi, Prophet's Mosque in Medina, the Hassan II Mosque in Casablanca, and the Faisal Mosque in Islamabad. To appreciate its large size, the four minarets of the Badshai Mosque are 13.9 feet, 4.2 meters taller than those of the Taj Mahal, and the main platform of the Taj Mahal can fit inside the 278,784 square feet courtyard of the Badshai Mosque, which is the largest mosque courtyard in the world. Architectural wonder.
मैं एक सिपाही हूँ। मुझे अक्सर आपने सड़कों, शाहराहों, गलियों, धरनों, जलसों और जुलूसों में देखा होगा। कभी तपती दोपहरों में, कहीं ठिठुरती रातों, बरसती बारिशों और तूफानों में। मुमकिन है आज ही मेरी आपसे मुलाकात हुई हो। यह भी मुमकिन है कि आज सारे दिन में मैं पहला सिपाही हूँ जिससे आपका आमना सामना हुआ हो। मगर गुज़िश्ता कई घंटों में मैं 20 शहरियों से मिल चुका हूँ। ये वही शहरी थे जिनकी हिफाजत के लिए मैं घर से निकला हूँ और जो मेरे मुस्कुराने को लापरवाही और खामोशी को सख्ती से ताबीर करते हैं। आज सुबह मेरी माँ ने घर से निकलते हुए मेरा माथा चूमा था। छोटे बेटे ने गोद से उतरते हुए चॉकलेट लेकर आने का वादा लिया था और बेटी ने जाते हुए हाथ पकड़कर घर जल्दी वापस आने पर इसरार भी किया था। मगर मैं आज भी वक्त पर घर नहीं जा सका। मुझे यकीन है मेरी बेटी मेरी राह तकते तकते सो गई होगी। मगर मैं शहरे इक़्तिदार का मुहाफिज, आपकी तवील पुरसुकून रातों का पासदार, आपके खुशगवार लम्हों का जामिन, आपके महफूज सफर का जिम्मेदार एक सिपाही हूँ। आप जानते हैं मैं कितने शुहदा का वारिस हूँ। मुझे ये यूनिफॉर्म तब मिला जब मेरे बाबा सब्ज हिलाली परचम में घर वापस आए थे। मैंने इस धरती पर अपना आसमान कुर्बान किया और अब खुद को कुर्बान करने का अज़्म रखता हूँ, क्योंकि मैं एक सिपाही हूँ।
Just so beautiful. I absolutely love the storytelling, Shahzad. And मैं एक सिपाही हूँ. I think we all can resonate it even without being within the vicinity of those people as well.
I feel like a sipahi myself as
I
well.
know, right? This was just so beautiful, and I hope for all the people the message did get across. Luckily, we have been joined by those heroes that we were just talking about, and the ones that we mentioned do not always wear red capes. Well, these ones actually wear blue ones. Without any further ado, first of all, we have someone who happens to be, well, now she's a Twitter celeb, and I'll tell you why. Because of the kind of interaction or communication she has built with her community. She's serving Islamabad right now, different sectors, of course. Belonging to Islamabad Police, we have Miss Amna Beg, who happens to be the ASP. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu
Welcome
alaikum.
to Well This Morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you
ma'am.
very much for joining us. It's lovely to have heroes from all walks of life.
I
Wow,
know, right?
wonderful.
Well, such a pleasure. Next to Miss Amna, we have another sepoy, or let's say the hero
Yeah.
of our nation as well. He happens to be the Assistant Sub-Inspector, none other than Mr. Muhammad Adnan. Hello, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Well This Morning.
Thank you for inviting and interacting with me.
First of all,
It's our
thank you very
pleasure.
much for joining us once again. You know, it is our pleasure. Thank you very much for taking our time. But now, very quickly, because we really want to use the best, use the best of our time as well. So, the first things first, what we really need to do is that we really need to appreciate the kind of services and how the image of Islamabad Police has been transformed in the recent years. And ever since we've been living over here, so we want to continue with, you know, I think first things first, which is the most important, that's the pandemic. And since the pandemic broke out, you know, ever since the DC Saab was out there as well, and he was, you know, making sure that, you know, every other arrangement is in place. The only thing I could see was that, even during smart lockdowns, it was the Islamabad police who were making sure that, that they're on point, making sure that everything is running in the flow and convenience for every citizen who's out there as well. So the kind of role Islamabad police played in smart lockdowns, let's begin with that.
Absolutely. It's now been more than a year since we have been in this pandemic, and we've tried our best to ensure that everybody stays safe during this time. And I think I'd start with some figures to give you an idea about how we have been impacted by the pandemic. The police force, the frontliners, have been impacted by the pandemic. Around 200 and plus police officers, 250 plus police officers from Islamabad police have been victims of COVID because they have been performing their duties. And then we have around 7 martyrs to this COVID pandemic in the past 1 year. So that's a huge number considering it's a small district of the country. But throughout you have seen that there has not been a single time where police has been called on and they have not responded. They have always responded, and I'm proud to be part of a force which has not only just imposed the lockdowns, in fact ensured that people stay safe by handing out masks, by going around telling people how important it is for them to stay home.
Wow,
absolutely. And just realizing one thing, Shahzad, again, it is definitely commendable. Now, this was a pandemic. By chance we had to face this situation, but no matter what the condition of the city is, I mean, if there is probably a civil unrest or even a climate issue going on or whatsoever, police cannot get a day off. How do you feel about that?
Somebody told me recently that every business is police business, and I completely agree with that. Whatever goes right or wrong, we are supposed to be there, but proudly serving the citizens, and no harm in that, I believe.
Absolutely none. But I'm pretty sure we need to commend, or like you said, credits due where it's due.
Yeah, and you know what, I actually want to add on over here that, everybody, every other, I mean, I'm going to say it out loudly as well, and, I'm going to be very bold about it, so every other political party who's got an issue with the ruling party, ladies and gentlemen, kind of decides to come down to Islamabad anyways every single day. There are news and rumors that, that we are actually going to come to Islamabad to protest and whatnot. It becomes really difficult, and then, I've seen a lot of my friends who actually are serving for the police as well. What I see is that there's so much unrest in their own lives as well. And obviously, since we have labeled you and we call you, we know you as heroes, how is life in police?
It takes a toll, and it's as you said that it comes with a huge opportunity cost. That's how I usually put it, and that it's a huge opportunity cost in terms of you miss out on a lot on your social life, you miss out on a lot on your family life, because when the whole of the country is off on the 14th of August or Eid, we are supposed to be on duty. So sometimes it is pretty difficult, and but then again, the sort of contentment you get from the work that you do, I think it compensates for all of it.
Oh,
I think
that's wonderful.
That's a safe answer and beautiful answer as well. But Mr. Adnan, the same question for you. I really liked how Shahzad asked that. Personal life within police, how is that for you?
We have very great personal life. Otherwise, when we came out to the public, we leave our family over there in the houses for the general people, for the general masses, to ensure the safety and for a greater cause.
Of course.
We leave our family, we leave our things for you people.
Of course. And we love that, which is why we want to celebrate you. One particular thing,
I
of
have
course.
one thing very interesting.
Okay,
I'm sorry
okay,
that it is actually going to bring you under the spot, but I'm sorry I'm going to say that. And I say that to a lot of my friends
He's
as well.
known for this.
Because every single time you're going to be in conversation with them, they'll be like, we're doing this for all of you and, all of that. So, we never asked you to go and join police. You join police, obviously it is your responsibility and duty. So, coming back with a larger statement saying that, we're doing it for you, I believe that it's wonderful and it's a wonderful job. But being on your job and making sure that 100% is being delivered from your end is your first priority, how do you do that?
Really, this is our 100% duty. we are agree with you, but whenever we came to with a general idea that we are not doing very much positively. We are doing it with our great enthusiasm.
Wow, that's great, and we love the enthusiasm, we love the passion, because for the very first time I believe that people from Islamabad Police have actually joined us over on our show as well. We've had people representation from traffic police and other institutions as well. Ma'am, now coming down to the main point in the crux of the program, where we wanted to talk about the menaces within the society. So first things first, I would we would like you to highlight the menaces within the society, how the current government has actually empowered the police department, that now the image of the police is actually, I think it has been redefined, and people have faith and trust in them as well, with computers being brought into the system as well. So please go ahead, Shreya.
And you're approachable, which matters as a layman to me.
Oh, thank you so much. Basically, I feel that crime is a social phenomena. We have to agree to the fact that it happens everywhere. So if we can't say that in the first world countries crime is totally, you know, non-existent, we can't say that Washington DC is more safe than Islamabad, etc., because it's a social phenomena and it exists everywhere, and that's the reason that we exist, right? But what we can do is that we can improve the quality of the services that we are delivering to the citizens, and we can try our best to ensure that everybody stays as safe as possible. And for that, the government has, and the current IG Islamabad has started a few initiatives which have been extremely I'd say extremely successful with the community. The first one that is, I think, very helpful for the people is the police guides that we have started in every police station. It was IG Saab's vision, because not all of the people coming into a police station come there every day. They don't know, like, you know, how to go about a police station, what to do. who
Probably
to
they're
meet.
scared already.
No, I don't. Not at all. I don't think the Islamabad community is scared of its police. They really like us. But yes, so if somebody comes into a police station to report a missing child or a missing car, etc., so to guide them through the processes, we have the police guides at every police station now.
Wow.
And then we started this Rabta campaign, which was basically to engage with the community. We would, all of the officers of the police station, because generally what happens is that we, as you said, that we have a lot of law and order situations, we have a lot of other things going on, so we usually do not get to meet the community who's not engaging with us directly. So for them to feel that for them to feel safe, they need to see us, they need to interact with us, they need to know who we are. So we started this Rabta campaign where every officer from their offices would go out with their, you know, a lot of Jawans, with their SHOs, and meet the public. Walk around the markets, meet the public, and ask them if there are any suggestions for us. So that is still happening, and it's super successful. And apart from that, now we are recently started a bicycle patrolling unit as well.
I was about to talk about that.
It's brilliant.
And the only reason why I wanted to talk about it was that, you know, I was on road, it was Ramadan, and I could see these 4 bicycles, you know, kind of going past by my car as well. And I was like, yeah, it's Ramadan, you know, they must be fasting, and they're on bicycles, and it's so scorching heat outside as well. So, you know, don't you think that we really need to be a little considerate about people on duties as well?
Absolutely, we are basically. So the unit that we have established, they only perform their duty 2 hours a day, and we ensure the timings are, so for example, if they have gone out before Iftari in the afternoon, we ensure that it's for half an hour. And then after Iftari, it's around 1.5 hours more.
After Iftari, I believe it's fine, but before Iftari, I believe it's difficult.
Yeah. So we have changed the timings now, and it's mostly after Iftari. So that again was because we see a lot of people walking around using parks in Islamabad, and there were a lot of places, for example, Fatima Jinnah Park, which were not approachable through our police mobiles or police bikes. So we wanted something which would be going around the park and people would feel safe.
Absolutely. It's smart. It is healthy. I absolutely love it. And one thing I have to say over here, where you said that Islamabadis are not scared of police. Well, maybe yes. But one thing, I think the first notion which comes to your mind when you see a vardi wala, you know, police wala, when you're out on the road or even with your friends, it's, well, you get scared. So this is one thing I want to sort of detach to it. Like you said, you visit bazaars and, you know, see people and whatnot. Doing that is a good thing, because the next time when they see someone, they will have, they will see a friend in you, or they will see hope in you, which is great.
I believe I've been on road so much that every other police wala or traffic police wala I meet, I think we are already friends as well, just because we have crossed our paths so many ways,
But I want that to happen to everyone. It's great. Now, Islamabad is just so beautiful. We're in love with it. There's a menace, among others, in Islamabad. I hate to talk about it. Do not take me the wrong way, because I'll try to explain it better. There's a business, there's a mafia rather, on the roads every other day. Some of us know it, some of us fail to recognize it. I'm talking about the beggars, or yes, you'll find them on every single road, every single signal, every single street, ranging from, well, a 6-month-old child to probably an elder man in his 70s. I know people like to do charity. We are definitely one of those people. But here's the thing, you should know who you are giving to. It's a business, ladies and gentlemen. They have an entire group. You know what? Actually, I'm going to ask you, Mr. Adnan, to let us know, because you guys worked on it. You had to research on it. Let us know how you went about
Because
it.
just recently I actually saw this tweet on Twitter where it was like 40 people who were being arrested with 2 handlers, and it is a mafia. That's when my eyes opened up that, hey, you know what, it's literally a mafia, so please.
Yes.
Yes, there is a mafia against it, but this is not a typical type of mafia which we see on the movies and the type of the things.
Yeah.
Nothing gangster about
this
it.
is basically those people who are in the business for more years. They become the handlers and the settlers and the facilitator of these type of things. We have led intelligence-based led operation against them, and we have arrested almost 40 or the 50 of the people who are involved in it.
Exactly.
And there is one thing we must mention over here, that there is a very mild law against anti-bagging laws.
Okay.
Okay.
You pay some fine and you are free to go again on the roads.
Did
So
you
then
change
what-
that?
We have to change that law basically.
So are you guys working towards that? Is the department working
We-
towards that? Have we suggested
we as a
something?
department working upon it.
ठीक है.
We know we have changed our dimension of the arresting the people. We are arresting now the handlers and the settlers and the you may say
The people behind
the
it.
people behind it.
Okay, wonderful. Now, very quickly, because you know it needs to be a public-private partnership. You know, you really want to request the community out there as well that, hey, you know what, we're working against it. Probably your participation will help as well. So, is it like 100% of the people on the roads who are begging is a part of mafia, or are they real deserved ones as well? You know, so that
That
you know,
is the
just
harder
to clear
part,
my
right?
conscience or clear my mind as well. So 100% people on the road who are begging, are they all a part of the mafia, or there are a few cases who really are authentic and really need help?
There, when we can apply the Pareto principle, the 80% are the fake, and the 20 or the 10% of the real.
All right.
There we can contribute separately. We can manage the institute. We can manage the social centers for them, the ED center, the crisis center. We can send them over there.
All right,
But
wonderful.
there is a great ratio of the fake people.
Exactly.
So true, and I think we all definitely have faced that, Shahzad.
Yeah.
And I think this is the harder part of the job for them as well. And then when it comes to the later stage, when it comes to us as well, to identify the people who are right and wrong, right?
Exactly. And just very recently, ladies and gentlemen, I believe everybody was kind of talking about, I remember when Afridi Saab actually came and into power as well, you know, he was the one who actually kind of raised his voice about how concerned he was where kids were involved into drugs within their universities and schools and colleges. And just very recently, you know, people who actually sell alcohol, people who sell drugs like cocaine, pills, I don't know, there was a complete
Opioids
list,
and
or
stuff.
ice or something of that sort as well. There was a bigger action against all of these people. I'm not going to call them cartels because they're not that big. I mean, what we see in movies as well. But it's a commendable effort, and you know, to save or curb the community from such menaces, I believe is your responsibility. But how far are we in terms of eradicating this menace of drugs and alcohol from our community and society?
I think it's a very pertinent question, considering you mentioned our youth, and you know it's super important for us that we keep them safe from these things. And I'd mentioned that the first thing that we need to look into is that the first thing that we need to understand about this is that it's both ways. So the community needs to be with us on board for this, right?
Definitely.
In the ways that, for example, report where it's being sold, report, the parents should come forward and tell us, or the universities or the schools, that it's being sold here, students are doing this, etc., etc. So it's a partial responsibility on the community as well to let us know. However, Islamabad police on its own has had a massive crackdown. You must have heard in the news recently that we had a massive crackdown on.
I have all those lists.
Yeah, basically. So basically we had a massive crackdown, and alhamdulillah it was very successful. And it wasn't just the universities or the colleges. We actually went to the places where it was being packed and sold, etc., etc. And that is where it's actually being transported into the city from, right? So it was the outer skirts of Islamabad from where we got a lot of main drug peddlers. Yeah, absolutely. So again, I'd reiterate the fact that the community needs to come forward as well, and then of course it's a societal issue, so we all need to sit down and think about it.
Exactly.
Definitely. And one thing though, and I want you both to answer this. You know, this was a few years ago, probably 2 or more, when I was in my university, when the plastic ban happened in Islamabad. It happened. My question is, how come things actually happen in Islamabad and not in other cities? For example, no one was using plastic. Now this drugs crackdown and a massive number of people are now curbed down. What is it that makes things actually happen in Islamabad and not in other cities?
Basically, I feel that
What's different?
So I'd say the community is a bit different than the other cities. For starters, it's a lot of things that come to play together, right? First of all, it would be the community. Of course, the community is more educated on these issues, like what are the harmful effects of the plastic and how it's going to deteriorate the environment if we keep using that. So it is again, I would give credit to the community that they have shown responsibility. But then again, administration and police were very effective in enforcing those bans which were being, you know, it wasn't just a paper ban, right? You can't just like write on the paper and say that it is banned now. So the enforcements were very good.
Okay.
And yeah, so it's both things together, yes, definitely.
Exactly, that's wonderful. And you know, we actually wanted to talk about how you're actually in liaison with other welfare communities as well, or probably organizations who do a lot of welfare. But we're going to do that another day. You know, 2 most commonly asked questions. One I'm going to ask from you, one from Adnan Sahab as well. The one I'm going to ask from you is that we have been a part of this culture where we know that, you know, God forbid, if we are going to get into trouble, we're going to call someone.
Yeah.
Right? And, you know, they will indirectly or directly come down to the point where whoever is actually, you know, holding me accountable for something, you know, will be like, hey, you know what, you can go home, number one. Adnan Sahab, since we will be short of time, so after ma'am finishes, my question for you is that a lot of boys and girls roam around, you know, in the city, you know, and there were a lot of roadblocks in the first place as well, where policemen used to ask for money as well. How do you think things have changed? And do you think that, you know, anybody who's roaming around and, you know, if police comes over and wants to ask for their vehicle documents or probably who they are or what their relationship is, do you think any normal citizen is answerable to them or not? So, ma'am, let's start with you.
I feel that, I mean,
Yes, go on.
sorry.
No problem.
Yeah, no, so basically I feel that no, I mean this is, I take what you asked him as well, a bit of that.
Sure.
Because it's interlinked basically. Yeah, so Islamabad, we don't see usually people calling you up that much.
Okay.
Right? Because as I said, the community is quite comfortable with the police. As you mentioned that because it's a small area, you pass through the same checkposts every day.
Single day.
You know most of the police officers by face. So when you walk into a police station, you're way more comfortable than probably in another city.
That's true.
So this is one of the reasons that you do not get a lot of calls.
Okay.
And the second one, I might just take 2 minutes.
Sure.
Is that no, the police is not as we envision it to be. Most of the times, the experiences that people are, the negative things that people are saying about police or the negative perceptions are usually indirect experiences. You see something on the news, and then you try to associate with that.
I mean, it's my first
It
time
has
experience.
happened. Yes, it has
Yeah.
happened.
No, yeah, of course, there are times when this has happened, but then again, a majority of it is just the second-hand
No,
experience.
but what I want you to share with our audiences is whether any policeman can do that, ask for your vehicle registration, ask for the kind of relationship you have with the other person sitting right next to you.
So vehicle registration, yes, absolutely, you can double check if the license plate matches what you're carrying, the documents that you're carrying with, but not, of course, the relationship.
Vehicle registration, not the relation.
Yeah, not, absolutely.
Vehicle registration, not the relationship. So very quickly, I believe that, you know, we would want you to give out like 15 seconds message for the entire community who are out there as well. Adnan Sahab, you think about yours, ma'am. Let's start with you.
But I'd like to say that Islamabad is our city. We all are a part of this city together, and it's Hum Sabka Islamabad, so we all need to work together. The police is from the community and the community is from the police. So we are you, basically.
Wonderful.
So we are trying our best to serve you, hopefully, inshallah, in the future as well.
Wonderful. Very quickly, Adnan Sahab.
In the days of pandemic, we are all exposed because all of you people. We are out because of you. Stay home, stay safe.
Wow,
All
that's
of us.
wonderful. So, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you respect all of these amazing heroes who are not wearing a cape, even in these times of pandemics as well. They are making sure that every single day they are going to put in a lot of effort and make sure that they're going to bring prosperity to this particular region, which has been probably, you know, awarded to them that, hey, you know what, you're going to look after this community.
Definitely. And I think one of the myths that we did bust today is how bribery is not at all related to police.
Yes.
So if you do see a police officer doing that, you can report him. That is the thing.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, really short on time. You are now going to head into another news bulletin. With this, we are signing off. Shazad Khan and Shaza Hashmi. We'll see you again tomorrow, inshallah. Take care. Good morning.
Good morning.